back to how to implement. The second step is design a plan for the project. So you, as the teacher, this is where your lesson plans come in. You figure out the step-by-step ways that you're going to help them solve this problem. Now, this is much less strict than your traditional lesson plans. You don't have a set solution for your students to use or find because they haven't come up with it yet. But you still need to plan their learning activities. Plans design should incorporate content knowledge and skills. You definitely want to have your content knowledge in there. You want to have the skills and come back to your standards. You should also use 21st century skills. You should have that collaboration, that creativity, the critical thinking, and the communication. Have all of those in there. You should have in-depth inquiry. You should not simply give the students all the information. You should not give them the, quote, correct answer, unquote. You want them to be asking questions and finding the answers to those questions. That is the entire design behind this. You also want them to have voice and choice. Basically, that means that you want them to be able to put their own spin on things. You want them to be able to make choices that actually affect the outcomes. If you're going to say, how do you want to solve the homeless problem, or how might we solve the homeless problem, don't tell them the best way to solve it. Have them brainstorm ideas on how to solve it, discuss, prototype their ideas, go back and fix them and make them better, and so on and so forth. Make it theirs. You have to give them that voice. You have to give them the choice. Which brings us to the recursive revision. Recursive basically means the same thing going back on itself, doing over and over again. So recursive revision. This is problem-based learning is not something where it's one and done. You don't just do something once, turn it in, and it's done. Problem-based learning is where you do something, you make a prototype of your project, and then you have somebody look at it, give it critiques, and then you revise it. Then critique it again and revise it again. Rinse and repeat. This is a longer process than just a standard write an essay and be done with it. This would be, if you're going to write something, because a lot of the problem-based learning is actual writing. So you would write, for example, a marketing brief, or you might do some accounting, whatever you're doing, and then have the other students look at it and give you feedback on it and workshop it, and then go back and revise it, make it better, bring it back again. Hey, this is better, but you could still fix this, that, and the other. Then go back and revise it again. Try it in a real-world situation. Did it work? No. Why not? Go back and revise it again. Try it again. Recursive revision throughout the entire process. Also, you need a public audience. Your public audience could just be your classroom, but we want to go further than that. We don't want to just kind of sit in the classroom and make a presentation to the same students who did the exact same project. They already know, for the most part, what each group did and why they did it and how it turned out. They don't care about the presentation. So you need to bring in other things, or you need to go out and present elsewhere. You need to present to business leaders. You can present to administration. You can present to district staff. You can present to people in the community. You can present to different colleges in the area. You can present all over the place. You want to get a public audience. Or you don't even have to present anything. You can bring in experts to your class. If you're doing a project-based learning on that requires some sort of engineering, you might want to think about bringing in an engineer to talk to your class about it or to give your class feedback on it. That would still be a public audience, because the point behind the public audience is to give the students the kind of the motivation and the realization that, hey, this isn't just for me and my teacher or my small little classmates. This is going out in the real world. This is going out to people who are actually not from the kind of the white tower of academia. They are actually in the real world, and they're going to form an opinion of me based on this project, so by dang it, I better do a good job. The third step on how to implement PBL is to prototype and test recursively. We already talked about recursive testing and refining and going back and forth. But it's very, very important that the students prototype whatever their project is, and then they test it, and then fix it, and then test it, and then change it, and then test it, and then refine it, and then revise it, so on and so forth, to make it better. A lot of our students are caught in the mindset of, I just need to do this work, get it done, and then that's all that's required of me. I just need to do this project, record this video, make this presentation, write this essay, and it's done. They don't care about the quality of the output. That's not how things work in the real world. The real world, you don't just do something to get it, just to do the work. Something as simple as sweeping the floor. Let's say a student gets a job at a restaurant and they have to sweep the floor. What's required of them? That they move the broom back and forth over the floor, or that they get the dirt gone. It doesn't matter if you do the work if you don't do it right. And our educational system currently trains a lot of those students, just do X amount of work and you will pass the class. When in reality, the real world works, you need to reach X goal, no matter how much work you put in. If it takes you 5 minutes or it takes you 5 weeks, that's what's required of you. So we need to train them to do this. So we want them to prototype things and test it, and then fix it, and then test it again.